Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with other host, who is your other host, who is Tristan Walter, who will be calling in a moment. We're going to play the countdown till Tristan Walter calls in game, which is a very, very, very fun game. But before we do that, I just want to mention what we're doing here, while we're doing that, rather. So currently it's been almost a minute since Tristan Walter has not called in. Maybe he'll call in the next 5 minutes or 10. Who knows at this point? What matters is that it's not his fault. What matters is that we're talking about Doctor Who Series 8, episodes 11 to 12. There was no 13th episode in this series, which is very strange, being 13th Doctor and all. But either way, it didn't happen, sadly. But what was very interesting is that, so, you know, we had this two-parter, and we actually haven't talked about Doctor Who for this podcast in a very long time. So thankfully we brought back Doctor Who Wednesday, which, you know, is a lot of fun. Really happy to be bringing that back. But, you know, it is kind of crazy, though, to say that we haven't actually done this in such a long time. And to kind of just bring it back into the fold, right, being able to do, you know, Doctor Who Series 8 and kind of wrap everything up, because it's been a few years. Actually, Doctor Who hasn't even been on the air in a while, but still being able to bring this back is pretty cool. So I'm actually happy that we're able to do this. But, man, was this a very interesting finale. Like, there was so much to unpack here. So, you know, hopefully Tristan Walter and I can do it. And, oh, wait, look at that. He's been on the line actually for a while now. Oh, man, I really should have looked. Well, it's nearly been 2 minutes. Count it down a little bit. Hello, Tristan Walter.
Oh, I made it in time. Oh, thank goodness. Sorry,
no, you
time
didn't.
travel, little wonky sometimes. I'm here though.
You're late, actually. You couldn't have. If you didn't call in, you literally could have hung up, and then just went back another minute. My timeline wasn't part of yours yet. Now it
Well,
is.
you can never be too careful about these things, Matt. You know, 'cause I can't just go around thinking, oh, it'll be fine, and then accidentally creating a paradox. I have to be very meticulous about these things.
Sometimes
Especially
I think
with
he doesn't
you.
really time travel.
I could completely screw up the whole continuum of Those Guys, and I don't know where the universe would be without this podcast.
Probably a lot better off. Anyway, so now you saw this.
No, Matt. Everyone's
two-parter.
important. Yes, I did.
Not everyone's important. That's true. So you saw a two-parter. So I want to give my thoughts, right, which is what we usually do here, right? I want to give my thoughts just for a little bit. And please correct, because I just wanted to know if you actually had seen it, because I'm like, you know, he's time traveling so much, I don't even know if you've seen it. So I'm happy you saw it. But now, my question to you is, before I talk about it, because I'm actually curious about how you feel, because that's the point, that's why you're on the show. Tristan, did your opinion of this two-parter change a little bit between viewings? Because obviously it's the second time that we've seen it. We didn't wait this long to watch this two-parter. So, and we're doing this in 2017, everyone. So this is a live episode. This is not, you know, an archived episode that we dug up that we forgot to release. No, we're doing this now, everyone. We understand. It's been a while. But Tristan, did your opinion of this episode or this two-parter change at all?
The one thing I could say about it is that seeing it a second time, things are a little bit more clear, because the first time was just a whirlwind of emotion, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But
I feel like the first time viewing it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the right place, and I say that because of the fact that I think when you're first viewing it, depending on how you feel about either Clara or the amount of years that over her seasons the character is staying on, I feel like that impacts your viewing of it a lot.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, watching it now, even though now it's very clear and it's obvious that she was on for the second series, for the next series after the Series 9, I believe for Series 8 it was already assumed anyway. So I think it was like new emotions where like you're kind of like, oh man, she's going to be on again. So it feels like none of this is really going to keep them away, even though, you know, I'm not saying that I wanted Clara gone, but we talked about this before on the show. They set it up in a way, right? They set it up in a way where you kind of sit back and you're like, oh, okay, so, you know, Clara was one of those characters that only gets one season because of how they set up her entire arc.
Yeah.
And then, no, she just keeps on keeping on. And you're like, okay, well, there's the 50th. Maybe after that they'll try to transition. Nope, no transitioning. Now we're doing Series 8. And then you're like, okay, so this is all setting up for her leaving. And then you hear rumors that she's going to be in the Christmas special and maybe even longer.
Right.
And I think even if you like her, because I didn't hate Clara. I didn't hate her character. But even if you like her, it still felt too much. And then, you know, even though it's great that the Doctor cares about her, because, you know, obviously she cares about him too, but the problem is that in that one moment, and it was only one moment, but still in that one moment in the opening of this two-parter, you know, and I say opening in terms of her and the Doctor right after the death, sadly, but still with that opening, it was too much, man. Like, the Doctor has kicked off people for less.
Yeah.
And she literally would have stranded them in a volcano and essentially killed him. And he's just like, no, because it was all bullshit. Because I lied to you, it makes it okay.
He always has a contingency plan.
Yeah, but that's still a huge issue. Like, it would be like if someone did that to Batman, Batman shouldn't just be like, well, thankfully, because I'm so fucking smart. Like, no, it's kind of like you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be like someone going, like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, if your girlfriend cheats on you, but you're like, thankfully, I gave her LSD. She just thought she was. See? One step ahead of the curve. Well, no, what the fuck? No. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like even though he was one step ahead, it's still, he's kicked off people for less.
Well, I feel like that scene is very... It's basically showing you how 12 thinks, because he's like, okay, she's obviously hurt about this. I know that. I get that. But I need to know exactly how hurt. And then when he lets this whole scenario plays out, and, you know, even for Clara, that's kind of sick. It's like, you let me play that whole thing out. Like, you see what I did, right? He's like, yes, that's what I needed to know. So I understand now.
No, but he did.
I have to do.
Yeah.
I have to do this to help you, because otherwise you're gonna lose your fucking shit. Which she did.
But I
want to say
though.
one thing about Clara. Like before we move on, like the one thing I want to say about Clara is, I loved her with 11. I really did, and I really wanted to see more of her. But obviously 11's time was ending, so they couldn't do that. And she had been written so deeply into his version of the Doctor that her coming back for 12, that transition into becoming, you know, the next companion for the next Doctor, I didn't like. I didn't like the direction that they brought her character in, because it didn't make sense to me for her character. But the second season that they brought her in with 12, I feel like they had finally reworked her enough that it's like, now you fit with 12. Now you two can kind of go on adventures together, and we've smoothed it out. Granted, the transition was very bumpy, and that kind of, I'm mad it kind of got to that point, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, though, I don't want to move on just yet, because I just want to say, like, look, I know, like, I get, and I'm happy that you were able to say, oh, it's how the 12 thinks, because, of course, in a way, every Doctor thinks differently, somewhat. Like, you know, every Doctor, even though they're still the same core person, or Time Lord, everyone thinks differently, in some way or another. My thing, though, is just, like, I don't know, like, it's just the idea that, like, you know, he didn't know that he was dead. he being the Doctor and the other he being Danny Pink, he didn't know he was dead. Right. I think it was just Clara saying, hey, I would love to see a volcano. And he's just like, she knows things. Like, this isn't like some new companion he picked up off the side of the road, sometimes quite literally.
Right.
No, he's like, she knows everything about the TARDIS and its history because of what was going on, So, like, she knows everything. Where is it
actually going? Yeah.
Yes. So that's why when that happened, I was really frustrated because, I say I was really frustrated because I don't know. I feel like these 2 episodes could have had certain things tied in certain ways that, in my opinion, would have made it make more sense. Now, or at least not have made it seem like Clara is insufferable. Now, hear me out. I know someone might go, Matt, she just died. And it's like, yeah, but I'm not going to, like, I don't know. Like, and it's funny because he is an actual doctor. Like, the Doctor is the Doctor. But, like, I've lost people in my life, right? I wouldn't go into a hospital with a gun and be like, all right, you guys are going to fucking fix this right now. Like sometimes, like, there are – I know this is television, so it's like everything has to be more dramatic, duh. But
yeah.
I just feel like it's funny. If this was the 11th Doctor, I feel like they cranked it up to 11. Oh, yeah! But seriously,
No, we cranked it up to 12.
Oh, yeah! Or just Scottish,
it's
yeah.
Just Pete
but
playing the electric guitar as he comes out of the TARDIS.
But, yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, I feel like it was a bit too much. And then again, the reason why I say insufferable is because how do you come back from that? Like, how do you have a character still stay on? Everyone's supposed to be like, well, I mean, come on, like, her fiance died. What would you expect? Not to try and kill both her and the Doctor in this really, like, homicidal / suicidal attempt, and someone will go, well, come on, she knew the Doctor wasn't going to do it. That's still, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it just, I'm not saying that you're wrong in saying, oh, well, the Doctor always has a second plan, and, Clara was distraught, because that's obvious, right?
Yeah.
And also it shows how the Doctor is, because the Doctor is, compassionate. So obviously, and that's the problem too. It's like, well, what was he going to kick her off to the curb and be like, "See ya," and then we're going to like continue the 2-parter without her? No,
right.
But then that's why I fault Moffat or other writers that helped come up with this, because it's just the idea of like you put them into a situation where she can't be kicked to the curb because then the Doctor looks like a jerk, but she looks terrible for basically being like, whatever, I'm gonna fucking kill us both. Also, because I know shit, that TARDIS is living. I'm killing the 3 of us. We're all gonna die.
Well, that's why, as it plays out, and she throws all the keys away, she is instantly horrified at what she's just done. And that's the thing.
I know. No,
it is
that's
television.
what they tried to write
so yes, but they're driving up the distraught to the maximum. It's like. She was literally talking to him, trying to say all the things like, okay, look, I've been lying to you, and I'm trying to make this right because I literally do care about you that much, and I'm about to give up, all the things the Doctor is, like all of time and space for you because that's what you mean to me. And having that ripped away immediately before she could even apologize to him and say, look, I lied to you, and I need to tell you this. Because that scene, just where the woman picks up the phone, hello? It's like, who's this? I was just talking to my fiance. What the fuck's going on? I'm so sorry. I found it on the ground. What do you mean on the ground? It must have been thrown from the car when it hit. And
no, in no way am I saying that wasn't an emotional scene, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and I guess it's the idea that she actually has the means. Because, no, you're right. A normal person, like you or me wouldn't go, like, if we lost somebody, we wouldn't go and be like, all right, fix this. It's like we know in our realm of possibilities that there's there's no way that's coming back. But in this show's universe, Clara can literally look at the Doctor and be like, look, I've seen you do this shit before. So don't you bullshit
you misunderstand.
me and say that you can't.
You misunderstand. I'm not saying after we lost that specific person. I'm saying, like, let's say we bring them to the hospital. They're still breathing. And that's why I'm talking about, like, a real doctor. But like, let's say they might not be priority, but you pull out a gun, and you're like, you're going to fucking make them priority. Like, holy shit. Like, my point is that even though, yes, the Doctor can do things space and time, and the person's already gone, so, yeah, my problem is just, and you know what it is? I think it's more so, and I don't want to sound like the moral police here, because I already am sounding like it, but I don't want to sound like, I don't want to sound like a complete asshole, but I have to be kind of honest here, right? While I am not saying that a companion should be prim and proper and, oh my goodness, we need to make someone that little boys and little girls can look up to, because, like, no, they should be real people. But, like, I feel like you should want to be the Doctor's companion and, in a way, be like, that's a good companion. And if the Doctor is like, and granted, they could be like a reformed thief or something. Like, you look at someone like River Song, right? Yeah. But I don't know. But like, imagine if River Song was in her "I'm going to kill everyone" stage and traveling with the Doctor, and he would be like, or at the very least, it still would be that character. But imagine if they made a new character that was just like a serial killer.
Yeah.
And it's just like the Doctor's traveling with them, and the Doctor's like, don't serial kill now. And his character's like, well, gosh darn it, Doctor, you have my hands tied. A bit like my victims, am I right? Like, you can't do this. Like, and granted, I'm not trying to compare her to a complete, utter-out serial killer, but just the idea that, like, she did that. And we're all supposed to be like, well, let's just forgive it. Let's just throw it away and act like it never happened. And then keep her for another series? Like, they worked out the kinks, but like you said, getting to those kinks, like working them out and having next season not be – because I don't think she was terrible next series. I don't think she was.
Right.
But in this one, in this moment, this was the most horrifying thing a companion can do. And then have the Doctor be okay with it. Like, when I say for less, literally, a companion in the past could be like, hey, I want to touch the controls. I'm going to touch them. No. You dare disrespect me? Leave. Yeah. Here she's
or
just
even the fact, like,
I'm an attractive. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, like look at Rose and 9 when she dives in and tries to save her dad and knocks him out of the way of being killed. It's like, the fuck did you just do? You don't understand what the fuck you just did. And he's like, nah,
and that's
you know
the
what?
Thing. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right.
And guess
so
what?
I get what you mean.
Of course he kept her. He did keep her. But you know what? It's funny. Even though it's like but it's funny too. She accidentally ruined time and space. And he, even though it was accidental, still, even though like in Ruined Time and Space, kept her around, fell in love, whatever. But here, literally, she didn't like, oh no, all these keys that I'm holding near this volcano. She's just like, listen, you're my fucking hostage right now. I'm just going to put that out there. You're going to do everything I say. And if not, you're going to be stuck here forever. You can't get back in there. And what are we going to do near a volcano? Too bad.
And I feel like
the
Master,
oh my God.
The Master basically puts that in a very specific phrase, like, I kept you together specifically for the reason that she's a control freak, and you're the one man that can never be controlled.
Yeah.
It's like, let's put a cat and a dog in a box and lock them up together and see how that fucking works. It's like, God.
You know what it is too? Like, I look at someone like Donna, and despite the fact that she's Donna, I would never see her doing something like this. Like, we've had a situation like that before.
Yeah.
Like, with very much like, like basically cats and dogs going at it, and that's basically with Tennant and Donna, right? But no,
it's
like,
funny
I could never see Donna saying, like, what?
Yeah, no, it's funny because she was one of my favorite companions with 10, just with all the ideas of the romantic interest and finally having someone who's not a romantic interest. And Donna did get better over time. The more she saw of the universe, the more she started to kind of like her personality grew a little more, and she grew into the person that would be like when when Ten is like going off on this huge, thing like I'm gonna do this. It's like, Ten, you can't do that. You can't do that, right? It's like, no, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And she's like, no, you can't. Like, I'm sorry, buddy.
But that's the thing, like,
you're great and all, but
no.
No.
Yeah, I'm just saying that this was the moment where you'd have the doctor be like, I'm saving you. You know what it is, too? Here's the thing. I'm saving you, but this is our last adventure. And I think it was really problematic because I don't know how people in the UK reacted to Clara, but I feel like Moffat and the BBC really underestimated how people didn't care at this point and even in 9. And it's sad because it's nothing against the actress at all.
Yeah.
She played whatever she was given very, very well. My problem is that she was given it. That's literally it. But she played it very well. Like, I didn't think it was disingenuous for her actress to be acting like she would in certain scenes. The problem is that, in my opinion, she was given that script. That's just my take on it.
Right.
Because I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like the doctor should have said at least, this is our last adventure. And by the end of everything, not been sitting there smiling like in a coffee shop like, this is nice, or in a diner like, this is nice. You did that to me.
Right.
But you know what? Yeah, whatever. Like, even though the doctor's not a good man, I still feel weird if he'd be like, I'd do the same thing. And you know what?
Right.
If he said I'd do the same thing, I'd be like, fuck it, all right. Like, if he had said that, like, honestly, Clara, probably do the same thing. I'd be like, all right.
I mean,
but that wasn't
I would argue
said.
if the positions were switched and it was the doctor in Clara's position and it was him losing Clara, like, he would have probably done the same thing.
No, I agree 100%. But my point is that I feel like it should have been driven home more because because it feels like it wasn't said. And also another affront too to some people is the woman that had just, or the person, because it doesn't matter if she's a woman. I mean, she's a companion who are usually women, but that doesn't have to matter. But the person who just did this in the next episode gets hailed as like the person that's saying like, I'm the doctor, and convincing granted, she's clever. She really is. She's been shown to be clever. And she knows everything about the doctor because of being part of him by accident throughout the entire, the entirety of his everything. So Whoops. So
I mean, the only thing I would say in the defense of that, like, my point is that I think it's, like you said, it's television, so it's ramping up the drama, but this is basically the idea that love can do anything to you, and that doesn't necessarily mean good things. It can do bad things to you too. Like, this literally shows how far Clara is willing to go, and it even horrifies her that this is what I'm willing to do to get him back, and it's scary what it does to people.
Yes. Also, I know this sounds
I would
too. And this sounds like I want them to have a cop out, which I don't want to say that, but I do think it also would have been good if at certain parts there would have been, I don't know, like Missy could have said, also I did something to your TARDIS, or I did something to, like, I found you, like, or when I saw her in the coffee shop. Like, basically I wish something could show that there were amplified tensions rather than it just being like Clara going from 0 to literally 1,000. Not 100. I consider that 1,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Like 0 to 100, here's my thing, right? What is 100 in this case? Punching the doctor in the face. Physical violence. I feel like that's like 100 for in a show like this for her specifically. Physical. 1,000 is we're both going to die on a distant planet's volcano.
Right.
And you will never, like, that's like that's something, like, that's so much that, like, I feel like there should have been alien influence.
Okay.
And the fact that it wasn't, in my opinion, ruins her. And it's very hard to try and recover from that. Because up until this point, you could just say that, like, oh, why is she still here? But then at this point, you're like, wait, she's not only still here, but she's staying? And that's the thing, too. And that's why I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they may have underestimated, they being Moffat and others, BBC, underestimated how this could hurt a character.
Right. Well, I love the fact that
Yeah.
even the doctor's lines, like, there are lines between each other. Like, whether you like this incarnation of the Doctor or even this incarnation of the Companion, whether you like them or not, you have to admit some of their one-liners are fucking gold. Because, you know,
Yes.
she says, what do we do now? Like, after the whole thing's over, she's like, what do we do now? Like, you know, even as you're saying, like, you're staying here, even she's like, so now that you've seen that I've done this, what now? Because and he literally says, go to hell. And she's like, you know what? Fair enough. It's literally fair enough. And she goes to walk out, and he's like, the fuck are you going? She's like, you told me to go to hell. No, that's what we're doing. You asked me, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to hell.
Yeah.
Or whatever other concept of the afterlife there is, because we're going to go back and get your boyfriend. So you know what? Buck the fuck up and let's go. Because I need you to be, you know, clever and my companion, not fucking teary-eyed and, you know, all that other shit that you do.
Yeah.
Like, you're a mess of chemicals right now. Let's go. We got a job to do. She's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. You know what I think I would have preferred?
That's his way
honestly?
of comforting, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's his idea of comforting. It's like, no, I'm going to help you do this, but you got to be at the top of your game if we're going to fucking do this.
Yeah. You know what it is, too? Even though she's clever, I think I would have preferred, like, a blaster. Like, the church pulling out something alien tech-wise and going, please do this for me, and then him being like, put it down, like, it's okay. Because I feel like that's a lot less final than what she did. Like, what she did was, like, some calculating shit. Like, she had to write that down. There's a Word document somewhere on her computer. Like, this was a fucking plan, and that's why it's scary. Like, it was premeditated.
Right.
Like, you don't just, like, think, like, you know what? I mean, at one time with the volcano, yeah, maybe.
But I mean,
no, like, that was with conviction. But that's more final to me than like no. But the point is though is that the idea, in my opinion, right, the idea that you can excuse something is when it seems a bit not only like especially in the Doctor's case, a bit stupid,
unthought out,
and also a bit more impulsive, which sometimes do go together. So like the idea of like pulling out some alien tech or blaster, being like, you know, I saw this in the vault near the TARDIS, whatever. I know everything that's in here. I need you to help me out. And he's like, put it down. It's okay. That's a lot different than saying, oh, you know, like I have these keys. Like I don't know. Maybe they were like, no, but we can't ever pull a gun. That's crazy. And it's just like that's just a lot. I don't know. For me, like. Blasters in this, like looking at like Star Wars and Star Wars is coming out on Wednesdays for these. And looking at Doctor Who, I feel like those are something that doesn't seem as severe as the meticulousness of this plan. Anyway, but let's move on.
I feel like that would be uncharacteristic. I feel like that would be like Clara pulling the gun would be uncharacteristic. Yeah,
but that's the point because she's losing it.
Right.
Like the idea of, someone loses it, right? You think of it that, like in my opinion, when I say, oh, they're losing their mind or, oh, my God, this is making them go crazy, the idea is, oh, that's not something I see them do. Like if it's like, oh, my God, he snapped and he, you know, did that to a bunch of people. You wouldn't think, yeah, it seems like something Jim would do.
Right.
You're like,
but
you probably should have told someone sooner.
I feel like it's the idea that Clara knows that the Doctor wouldn't react to something like that in the way that she would want him to take it seriously.
True.
Like, she's like, no, I have to do something very fucking drastic for him, of all people, to actually fucking listen.
Yeah.
Because
but again,
otherwise
the problem
he's just going to blow me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, just before we wrap it up, to me it just takes away her likability. And I think that matters when this is because here's the thing too, right?
It's already
this
hurting.
show isn't like not that. I was gonna say this isn't an HBO level show where like you don't expect kids to watch. This is actually a family event. You're supposed to be watching this with your kids. So, to me, like if I'm showing this to my kids, it's really rough to be like, yeah, that's the one you wanted to be, right, honey?
All right, yeah.
You know, and like I feel like my kid would be like, not anymore.
Right.
So like I feel like, but yeah, I know you're mentioning it's hurting because the ratings are going down and down, sadly, as years go on. But I would argue, even though I don't know the numbers for this, online stuff might be picking up, or it's streaming and you know and other things like that. So for all we know, it's doing well in those regards. But but yeah, I just meant more so like when you have when you have a companion on, you want to like them. Or if you don't like them, maybe like that's a point, because let's say like if someone didn't like Donna, it's like, okay,
right.
well, it's a point because she's, but not so much like, someone that we liked and was also like a super supreme god-like character in this situation, right? And then we transition her into being a normal human, but still make her, some could say arrogant, I would just say clever. But then in this case, especially, again, in the next episode, then making her pretend to be the Doctor, I really understand why some people were like, that's really jarring. Yeah. And how they started to dislike her a lot. Like her character, of course.
Yeah. And I feel like the further they go on with that, like in the next season with her, like that idea that Clara is playing up the fact that she's acting like the Doctor would becomes very important later on. And that's a whole other discussion. But yeah.
Of course. But yeah, so now let's talk about Missy, right? Because I think if we had a little... Yes, I love Missy. Missy is wonderful. She is the absolute best.
Bananas.
And I love her.
Oh, yes. God.
I think she's an amazing incarnation of the Master.
Yes.
She needed to happen. For anyone that is upset by her, in terms of like, well, why can't the Master be a dude? Same reason why the Doctor doesn't have to be a dude. So like, there's really no reason why the Doctor has to be a guy. Literally no reason. They've established it. Time Lords don't have to come back as their gender.
Right.
So, literally, we don't need to have a male Doctor the next time. We don't need to have a female Doctor, but we also need to have a male Doctor for the next incarnation. So it's very interesting to see where that might go in the future. But for Missy, I was very happy to see her because, okay, so I'm sure, I haven't heard this, but I'm pretty sure that there's someone out there, or there are people out there that are saying, why does it seem like the first female Master has to be the one that's crazy? And what I'll say is, it actually just happened to be a kind of, I don't say coincidence, but I'll use the word, I guess, coincidence. It's a natural progression in a way. Not that he would be crazy as a woman, but that he was going nuts while he was male, at least in this newer incarnation of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense that...
Like, I would say, did you not see the episodes with Tennant and the Master? Because holy shit. Like, he's no less batshit there than she is here.
Yes, exactly. So he was crazy. He was also flamboyant. So it's not like she's playing up femininity in a sense. He was also kind of like, in a way, I could imagine him kissing the Doctor.
Oh yeah, like those times where there was especially a scene where they were talking on the phone together, and I'm like, this is getting interesting, guys. Like
pretty fun. Yeah, it's fun.
You want to have a moment here? Like, should we leave and come back later, or what?
Yeah, no. Yeah. So wait, it was before he became a good house elf, right? It was before the Doctor became a good house elf. That was before that, right? You're telling me when he was in that cage he didn't look like Dobby? Are you telling me?
Yes. That was before they were on the battleship and he sent him down the road of time. It's like, let's see what you actually look like. No, that was before.
We've been doing too much Star Wars on this. You called it a battleship. We've been doing too much Star Wars on this show. But anyway,
I mean, it was basically the Avengers floating fucking aircraft carrier in the sky. I mean, let's be honest.
Basically. But still, back to Missy, right? I really enjoyed Missy.
Did it
I really enjoyed what? Well, I mean, in the movies, yes.
In the movies, yes. In the comics, like, I don't know about the comics, so they probably did it before.
Been around for
the comics
since
anyway.
like the 70s. But been around for like the 70s. But
yeah.
Anyway, what matters is this, right? What matters is that Missy's a great character. I loved her addition to this show because I do think she was needed. What I don't enjoy is her plan, because her plan seems very, like, I know it's like a typical Master plan, at least it's funny, not Master plan, the Master's plans in this show seem very, like, not in this incarnation, not the original necessarily, although I don't remember much of his stuff from the original, but definitely here, it seems very convoluted, right? Like, I feel like his plans involve way too much planning itself, and then they very much involve the entire world, not just like not just Cardiff. It's like, no, the entire world will, become this or this. But in this case, it just felt so, again, over the top, right? And it's Doctor Who, and and it's television,
Right.
but a bit too much, where she's kind of just like, oh, it's kind of like, how long has she been planning this? For the entire time the world has existed. But then why did this exactly happen at this moment? Complete fucking coincidence. Like, if she had been in the background of Pink's death, makes
Right.
sense. Like, if she caused it, makes
God.
sense.
Missy was the one driving the car. Oh, God.
Dude, I would be so fucking interested in that.
Oh, man.
Wouldn't it just make sense?
God. Oh,
right? But the fact that he just so happened to die on that day, now someone might go, no, but she knows the future, so she knew the exact day that he would die. On the Doctor's birthday? Just a super fucking cosmic coincidence?
Oh, yeah, all right. When she says that, it
now,
basically seems like this is all very coincidental. Okay. But
now, granted, you could just say that, like, it's not like this date is the Doctor's birthday. It's just the Doctor keeps on living day by day, and then it just so happens that he gains a full 365, if they're going by Earth time.
Yeah.
365 on him, right? So, like, but
Right.
still, yes. When it keeps on coming down, like, down and down, like, I hate this, because when I first saw Moffat do The Big Bang, and everyone was like, this was terrible, he's a terrible writer, shouldn't be the head writer, I was like, hey, this was some timey-wimey fucking goodness. But, like, as the years have gone by with his finales, while there are things about them that I do enjoy, I would never say that they're entirely bad, right?
Right.
I feel like just certain things don't add up or seem completely coincidental and are just hard to do. Like, granted, I'm not saying The Big Bang was very easy, but, like, obviously The Big Bang, they had to kind of break time. It's like, we kind of had to break time here because of what's going on.
Literally.
But literally. But in this
literally,
case,
metaphorically,
it was kind of
and any other staple that you could think of time in any sense of the word.
Basically.
We're just going to break
But here it was... Yeah, but here it was just very fucking convoluted. Now, I'm very happy that death wasn't a real place, because I was like, guys, I know it's Doctor Who, but let's not go here.
Yeah.
Like, I know things are different in the UK. You can show gods and demons and stuff. Sadly, we can't do that in the U.S., and I do wish that we could at least mention heaven and hell in the U.S. in shows more often.
Yeah, I mean,
but
personally, to me, it's bullshit, but, whatever. That's my opinion.
No, dude, I agree too. I think it's very strange that in children's television, if the word heaven is used, or it's like, it's like even like go to hell. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's like, but if you do believe, then there are places. If you believe, well, because my thing is, if you believe, then there are places that actually that they exist. If you don't believe, then it's not going to offend you if you don't believe. In my opinion, if it does, then sorry,
fair enough.
sorry, atheist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, So that's my take on it. But here, I was like, okay, I know it's the UK, but guys, I don't really don't think we should go here. So I was very happy that it's not a real place and that it was all just a construction by Missy. That I was happy about.
Right.
What I wasn't happy was it was just like, oh my God, everyone who's been dead ever, it's been a plan all along. When would it have been enacted? Oh. Like, it's really funny. Was it even the Doctor's birthday? Probably not, actually. I don't...
Well, like
I'll be
even
honest,
the Master says it. Even Missy says it to him. It's like, because he looks at her like, what? And he's like, well, at least one of us has to remember these kinds of things.
No, but like in my head, I'm like, if it wasn't his actual birthday, I'm like, okay, that's actually... It's funny. It makes the plot better if Missy was lying. But if Missy was actually telling the truth, then it kind of pisses me off. Because, again, why did it all just work out this way? It's too much.
I mean, to be fair, in that regard, I feel you should go even further. If that's what bothers you, I feel like you should go even further back. Because I mean, yes,
Please.
it's always been an idea that the Master will always return no matter what happens, and will be like, I haven't seen a lot of Classic Who, but I know at least enough to say the Master's gone through some worse shit than he did when we last saw him with 10. Like, they just went through a dimensional portal in that sense, and like anything could have happened in between there. And like we don't actually know what the Master went through between that time and when we see him now, or at least I don't. Maybe they're not visual novels, but like audio plays or other things, other mediums that explains that gap in time. But the fact that the Master is just kind of reintroduced now, and granted, I feel like that's just the show. It's like, yeah, we're going to give him a break, him or her for a break now. And then here we are again. It's been a while since we've had any dealings with the Master. Let's bring them back into the mix. And I feel like, as for convoluted plans, I feel like bringing back the dead, like even the sense of like, all of the dead over human history. It's like the Master could have thought up that plan at any given point, and then go back through time and space and be like, I'm going to enact it, from the beginning. And it's like using the idea of like the dead outnumber the living in any given, form of peoples, granted, depending on how they care for their dead, I suppose, or what their planet is like, if they could even bury their dead. But that aside, personally, I don't feel it's too convoluted. If like this is the second time I've gone back and looked through, like seen the episode. So like the first time it was a bit difficult to follow on my first run through, but like looking back at it now, it's like, all right, I've got the actual like plot events down. Let me see how this kind of ran out like plan wise, and like it doesn't hit me as hard as like, wait, what? Now as it did then.
Yes. Okay, so a few things. First off, you said, well, why not go further about the Master? You're right 100%. You thought I'd go against you. No, you're 100% right. So now I'm against the Master. Thank you, Tristan. Now, 2. Damn it, Matt. No, but you actually have a good point though. You're like, well, why not go further and ask why is the Master here? And to that I say, you're right. I probably should do that, and I think people should, because if not in this episode, it would be best to learn later how the Master got out, or at least some kind of explanation. Because, yes, we know the Master's gone through some shit because it's not the same incarnation. So clearly some stuff has gone down. Right? But we don't know what, and I feel like we should. So that's 1. 2, I'm not – okay, the only reason I say it's convoluted is because it just seems like it just, or at the very least, it's not convoluted. I'll use the word convenient, another C word. Convenient. It is convenient that it happened to be Danny Pink dying, just happened to then bring them here. To just, like, granted, it was not convenient for it to be Clara because she planned it to be Clara. So that was nice, because that, in a way, makes you see, like, why, in a way, it was important for Clara not to leave. So then for me, I'm like, okay, that's good. So it's important that they kept her here for this season. She wasn't just kept on for too long. It makes sense. They wrote it in this way. That's actually really cool because, Eleven's asking, like, how'd you get my number? Woman in the shop. And I don't know about you, but I always thought it was River's song.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that's where me personally started to question things, like, the Master is the one that kept you two together all this time. I'm like, wait a minute.
Because they never explained who the woman in the shop was. I'm pretty sure we just assumed that it would be River because it's kind of of course it would be River, right? But they never explained it. So, and because we would never think it would be a female Master. So when they explained it, it's funny. That's the one thing that I was okay with because, again, they never told us who it was. It was on us to think it was River because it's always River. But now there's a new woman in town, and she's bananas. So that's 1. And love her so much.
I would hate to could you imagine River versus Missy? That would be freaking terrifying.
Oh, God. So that's just King Kong versus Godzilla. The effects will be better. But just literally, we have to send one. Missy is just being carried by balloons. Anyway, so we have no way to transport her to America. Anyway, look, what I'm trying to say here, Tristan, is that oh yes, the second thing I was saying was, I'm not saying convoluted, it was convenient. However, another thing, and I don't want to blame just this episode for it, because it happens in Doctor Who a lot now, or not now, I think it might have always been a staple. It's something that kind of gets me a little frustrated. When they explain, like, Doctor Who is like, oh yes, this, like, how do I explain this? Because it's also hard to explain time travel the way they have, and then haven't, and then have, and then haven't. Basically, just the idea that, like, oh man, how long is she planning this? Well, and the Doctor explained it. Technically, she could go back anytime she wants to do all of this. But I think it's just crazy that, like, overnight in all of human history, all the dead got uploaded and thought that was heaven. Or hell, depending. Like, that's just crazy to think about, you know what I mean? No, right. I'm saying it's just crazy to think about. Like, not that I'm saying that it's not cool or that it's not an interesting concept. I just think it's crazy to think about that. Like, because if it had been a thing where, like, oh, only people over the last 30 years, I think would make sense. But, like, the fact that it's just all of human history, they all are uploaded into this thing, and it is apparently their version of heaven. Like, that's just pretty crazy to think, like, that went unnoticed, I guess. Granted, who would notice it, of course. And, again, remembering that, that the Doctor hasn't really been – it's funny, too, because here's the thing, too. And it's not the show's fault because they always do this. So it's not like – I'm sorry, it's not Moffat's fault because it's been done before Moffat. I'm sure it'll be done after Moffat. Just the fact that, like, in some cases when they want things to be worldly or, like, universally or, like and how do I word it? Like, not, like, time-wise, like, something that's been going on since the Earth's history, I guess. They always neglect that other Doctors exist.
Right.
Now, obviously, you can't bring back another Doctor. I'm not saying that this should, but I will admit, though, I'll say this: an episode like this definitely feels like it would be a multi-Doctor special. So I feel like in some ways, like making the plan be worldwide, like, as much as for as long as the Earth has existed. You're kind of just like,
right.
The Doctor hasn't been on Earth this last series, but he's been on Earth before.
Right.
Like, in other words, Missy doing this doesn't just affect, like, this Doctor. It affects every Doctor ever who had ever been on Earth and ever seen someone die.
Right. And
so I don't know. It's always a weird situation.
I feel like that part is why they brought in Unit. Because Unit's like, so shit's going down. And we can't necessarily rely on him to fix it all the time. But he's here, so we're going to make sure we get him on the goddamn plane and make sure he fixes it.
Yes, I'm extremely happy that they've brought Unit back into this show, because for a while it felt like it was a bit lawless with, with 11. So I'm really happy they've brought Unit back into the fold, because you kind of just can't forget that Earth has this defense force. So I'm really happy they've brought that back because, look, I understand that, early 11, they wanted to make it seem like everything was new and fresh and different, but it definitely felt weird to have a show without Unit. So, I'm very happy that they've brought them back. I'm very happy that they're tying it into the Brigadier as well. With the Brigadier's daughter. And I really am enjoying, what they're doing with Unit because, again, and also really funny with what they did with the Doctor being the president.
Yeah.
But
you're going to get the president? It's like, those. What are they going to do? All they're going to do is pray. It's like, oh shit. All right. Well, thanks UK. You're talking about us, but it's like no.
Well, I was really upset. I was upset because they were like, "What are the Americans doing?" Yeah. Well, no, because I was sitting there and I was like, "Oh, what? The Americans are going to sit there and bomb and pray? How fucking dare you tell the truth?" I was really mad at their truth. I was like, "Well, fine then. How about you tell the Queen?"
Yeah, right.
But
she's had so much luck with her alien invasions in the UK in the past.
Oh man.
It's like, no, actually I meant you. It's like, what idiot did you vote in, to take care of this? It's like, well, you would know because it's you. And he just looks up. Ah, fuck. It's like, all right, Kate.
Yeah, no.
I'll give you that one. You fucking got me.
Yeah. Also, I love, you always, I don't know about you personally, I say like you as in like just a general term, you always forget how the doctor has just so much disdain for military men. You see it in what he said about, about Pink, i.e. his nickname P.E., but still, it's just very interesting how, like, he has forgotten, like, you forget, rather, his disdain, and then he sees the military dude, and he's just like, oh, that's a very nice, he just looks at him, he's just like, that's a nice Boy Scout uniform, and I'm like, oh, shit.
And he still salutes him. It's like, my father always, wanted, his goal was to get you to salute him before he died. It's like, well, he should have just asked. It's like, it's jarring in a way, like, in a good way, in a kind of dark humor way, but it's like, yeah, the doctor is the kind of person, like, if it meant that much to you, you could have just asked him and he would have done it. But from the Brigadier's perspective, it's like, that's not what I wanted, though. Like, I wanted you to do it seriously.
But no, it's funny, though, because here's the thing. I'm pretty sure he did ask him multiple times. Because I'd seen Old Who, so I'm pretty sure he would say things like, oh, doctor, look at you being as, as dismissive as always, or something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure he did ask. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure, because I remember seeing Old Who a very long time ago. I saw Up to Baker. I'm pretty sure he would ask him, like, a salute wouldn't kill you every once in a while, or some shit like that.
Probably.
So when he said, like, I think he should have asked, I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure he fucking has.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But,
and that was another beautiful line between 12 and the Master. It's like 12 talking to the Master when they're captured and they're on the plane and she's, still handcuffed and tied up. It's like, remember when you said you wanted to rule the world? It's like, Mr. President, you're needed in X room. And 12 just shrugs and he goes, piece of cake. It's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, that was like it's fun. It's kind of funny. It's one of those situations where, like, it's a dick measuring contest. The problem is, it's like, one of you is a woman now. But still, in all seriousness, it was just this general, like, ego stroking. Fair enough. But still, it was such an ego, like, stroking, like, oh, yes, you've always talked about trying to rule the world and be the master of everything. We need you in here, Mr. President. It's like, you motherfucker. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I was saying,
that bites him in the ass later, too.
Of course. But I still want to mention, like, yeah, I do enjoy that, the idea of the quote-unquote afterlife that they were actually able to go to, right, is Alien.
Yeah.
Also,
Alien
very
technology.
funny Steve Jobs. Very funny Steve Jobs joke. I laughed a lot harder than I should have. Like, you have Wi-Fi?
You have iPads in the afterlife? We have Steve Jobs. Oh, fuck.
I was like, well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong, but God damn it.
Yeah. Another thing, too, that I don't know if I'm the... So here's something I'm not a big fan of. Now, granted, they only had but something very interesting that I've noticed that I think Moffat has said before, or someone said it about Moffat's work. I believe it was something from Moffat, though, where he said, oh, it's harder to do some plots because... I want to do a 2 or a 3-parter, and then it gets brought down to a 2-parter or just a 1 standalone. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because I feel like there's some stuff that's a little bit incomplete or rushed that I think now because we've seen it twice, we're like, no, we're good. But the first time, like you had said, it was completely hard to follow, in my opinion. But the reason why I say incomplete is because, like, you have, like, it feels weird, and I know it's just a story, and I know we have to only contain it to, like, Doctor Who and this specific companion, and, of course, the one tie-in to the Brigadier because of his daughter. But isn't it weird that, like, out of every Cyberman in the world based off of dead people, only 2 love people enough to, like...
Right.
Right? Like, no, because the idea is love makes you do... Yes. Like, love can make you even defy a hive mind. But only 2 people. Everyone else was not real.
Right.
Like, it just, like, I don't know. Like, I wish, like, I feel like if there had been a 3rd part, then, and I'm not saying that, Moffat had planned this to be a 3-parter or something, But if there was a third part, I don't know. I feel like it would have been a bit more fleshed out, and it would have, certain things would have been a bit cooler.
Yeah.
I have to say though, you mentioned Unit. Oh my God, Unit turning on them, like it just looking like random normal people, but Unit knowing, okay, the doctor's been sighted. Where? There. All right, let's send in a bunch of actors. And then when shit started going down, it's like, oh my God, that's so cool. Let's take selfies. It's so cute. And then out of nowhere, just everyone started pulling out guns, and I was like, oh shit, no. That was
like,
the
no,
fucking
actually, we're
coolest
on to
thing.
your shit.
No, yeah, that was the and because here's the thing: when no one left, I was like, yeah, no one's leaving because this is to them, it's a crazy Scottish man running around.
Yeah.
But the second they pulled out their guns, I was like, you motherfuckers.
And even
that.
Kate, like the Cybermen going, oh, your human technology is nothing to cyber technology. She drops an old Cyberman head in front of him. It's like, yeah, we've dealt with you before the last time you tried to pull this shit. Tell me we're not prepared. It's like, holy shit.
It was so beautifully done. Yeah, I want to mention one thing about Pink, though, and something I don't think they made clear, and this really frustrated me. At least at first it didn't make it clear. When it's just like, oh, if you want to delete your emotions, press delete. And it's like, wait, does that mean I'm not connected, like I don't feel the burning? Because if I'm getting cremated, I might want to press delete. I'm a little confused here. Or does that mean I end up going back to my body? What does delete mean? Now in this context, once you know the Cybermen exist, you're like, oh, delete means you'll just become one of the Cybermen. But when you don't know they exist, like, I know it didn't take that long for the button to be shown before they showed the Cybermen, thankfully. But then again, even then, it's still, you didn't realize that, I don't know. Like, I feel like certain things were addressed in part 2, but they were questions that, there were still like a bunch of questions that I don't know, they were answered, but not directly. More so they were shown rather than explained.
Yeah. Right. I feel like it was supposed, like, the phrase itself, like the word delete coming up was very specific. And
of course,
maybe
Cybermen,
not so much to like,
been.
And like even the doctor says, I feel like there's something incredibly obvious that I'm missing right now. And the elevator doors close, and it's the fucking eye of a Cyberman, and you hear the theme play. Like, that's when I knew, like, oh, dear fucking God. Like, the idea, like, yeah, it's supposed to be obvious, but the idea that, no, if Danny hits delete, it's like, yes, he's becoming part of the hive mind. That's not something, at least I felt, that I picked up on until my second watch through, because I was so engrossed in everything else that was going on that I was like, wait, yeah, Danny's still a part of this here. It's like, wait, this has more significance than I'm giving it attention to right now. And another thing with that specific scene, when he gasps and you see the iPad like tint a bit, and you see there's a reflection in it. The first time I watched it, I did not know what the reflection was. When I watched it again this time, I realized it was the boy that he talked to earlier, the boy he had inevitably accidentally killed in his tour, like. And that's what stops him from doing it, because it's like, obviously he's in so much pain right now, he literally told Clara what she needed to hear so that she wouldn't follow him anymore further into the quote-unquote afterlife. So he's like, no, I care about you. I can't, I'm dead. Like, as far as we know, there's nothing can be done about that, and I'm not having you give up your life to follow me. Like, I'm going to say whatever I need to say to get you to leave. And that's exactly what he does. And it was, oh, God, that line. She even keeps egging him on, like, stop saying that. Like, I can't trust that it's actually you if all you say to me is, I love you. It's like, Clara, you're thinking of it too much like the doctor right now. You're thinking too logically, in the sense, like, he must know something that will let me know, like, immediately that this is the real Danny Pink. And it's like, you're missing the idea. It's like, he's saying I love you repeatedly over and over again, because he's the real Danny Pink, because he knows if he says it
Yeah.
enough, you're too logical and you'll take it as this is a trap and leave. And holy
Yeah.
shit.
Also, by the way, so here's another thing, too, I want to mention. So it's funny. You said, oh, yeah, they were Cybermen eyes, like with the doors. I thought you meant like in the doors. I didn't realize, and maybe other people watching didn't either. I'm probably just an idiot. They're shaped like a Cybermen's eyes, the doors.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because when he says, I'm missing something, and they close, it's like, wait, those are, oh, God damn it.
Right, exactly.
So
I didn't notice
actually
it until that very scene, and I said the same thing. I'm like, God damn it! Like, how did I not notice that the whole damn time? But, of course, it's something so minuscule. It's like it's the fucking elevator doors. Of course you're not paying attention to them, what all this shit is going on with the characters.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, when I said, oh, yeah, and Clara gets to be the Doctor in the next episode, I wasn't just referring to her actions. I was referring to the fact that her eyes are in the opening title screen instead of the Doctor's eyes.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
those were her eyes. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was just so
Right.
So in a way, like, you wonder, was I actually supposed to believe that she was the Doctor? Because I'm not. No, because if they didn't show her talking to Danny, I think you could have been like, wait, was she? But, like, no, like, she's talking to Danny. Like, I would not assume the Doctor would one day, not that he can't, but would one day, you know, not that he can't become a woman necessarily, but then fall in love with an Earthman who is then PE and then talk to himself.
Yeah.
Like, and then say, I was just hiding it. Like, if the Doctor ever interacts with the Doctor in the future, like, you know, like in a way that the Doctor shouldn't know about it, I feel like he would use a fob watch again or something else that would make him not know that he's the Doctor. So it'd be like the Doctor, in other words, it would be a thing where, like, the Doctor interacts with the Doctor both not knowing that they are the Doctor. Or, like, one is the other and that one is the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to say in a way where, like, I feel as if that ever did happen, and it wasn't just a crossover fun thing, it would have to be in a way where the Doctor can't just be like, oh, I know I'm the Doctor. He just doesn't know. Like, that would be weird.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so, yeah, oh, my God, just turning themselves into, like, actual unit members, going from, like, taking selfies. That was a funny thing, because at first I was like, yeah, this is, like, humanity, right? 2016 at this point. Or I think it was 2015 when this episode came out. I'm like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense, because these are people.
Like, yeah,
but then
giant
all of a
metal
sudden
men
pull out the
walking
guns,
around.
and
It's like, oh, it's a promotion, right, for something. I don't know, like a movie or something. It's like, yeah, it's like, you know.
Well, because in their heads, they're like, oh, my God, promotion for the new Iron Man? That's so cool. And all of a sudden, it was not promotion for the new Iron Man, Tristan.
Yeah.
It was Unit. But no, it was very interesting.
But it was really me, Unit!
Yeah, oh, my God. It was really me, Unit. Oh, no, Dio Barando. But seriously, I just think it's, you know, that was a lot of fun. Seeing, I can't remember her name, sadly. She was the Doctor fanatic.
Oh, Osgood.
Yeah. Osgood,
I only remember her last name, but yeah, Osgood.
She died, man.
I know.
Why'd she die?
Oh, God, the line that the Master says to her, like, you know, it's like, you know, why would you kill me? It's like, I'm more important to you alive. It's like, why does one pop a balloon, dear? Because you're pretty. It's like, stop.
I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that killed me. But it's just, you know, I have to say, though, the biggest, if you want to give an award, like, who's the biggest dumbass of the year? The fucking two unit guys sitting in the back. I was like, are they secretly Cybermen? Is that why they're being so fucking stupid right now? No, just two dudes not noticing all of the signs.
Yeah.
No, because, like, literally it got to the point where it's just like, oh, no, these aren't my handcuffs. It's kind of like, hey, should we kind of maybe do something? I'm pretty sure that's her handcuffs. Nah.
I mean...
Do you understand how much this job pays? We're not paid enough to deal with this shit. They come undone, they come undone, whatever.
It kind of reminds me of one scene in our Clone Wars cast where two clones were like, so that giant Zillo beast, it's like if that thing gets out, like clanging on the doors as it's getting out, it's like if that thing gets out, what are these rifles going to do against it? And the other clone is like, oh, shut up, whatever your name is. And then they both get crushed by the steel door as the monster comes out. It's kind of like that with the Master. It's like, so is she getting out? It's like, yeah, she is. It's like, so what are we going to do? Ah! And they get vaporized. It's like,
fair
what
enough.
the fuck were they going to do to stop her, to be honest?
Well, no, I'm not saying that they were going to do anything. They were going to die, but they were going to die like soldiers, not like cardboard
cutouts. Right.
Yes, not like stormtroopers.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
Yeah. So that's or frickin' battle droids.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was taking them to talk. Like, are her cuffs missing?
Right. I don't know. Uh-oh. Roger. Yeah.
She's like a Mrs. Houdini.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I just was expecting something stupid. Because they were not smart. So, the fact that they didn't drop her on the way to the fucking ship. Anyway, I should not be this much of an ass about it. But still, yeah, I was kind of like, why are you guys, like, what are you doing? Also, I'm going to be a dick here, too. It was kind of funny how, like, Capaldi gets shot with the tranquilizer, but because his actor is, the age that his actor is, they're just like, he's going to fall very, very gently.
Right.
How long do you have him on contract? 2 years. He's going to fall very, very gently. Guys catch him and then just let him politely collapse. Like he collapsed in the most British way possible.
I mean, yeah.
He was super fucking dignified while collapsing. Like
Makes
that
sense.
It's a very like dignified way of collapsing. Like he collapsed with the Queen in mind. Like that's all I'm saying. Like it was very much like, oh, when I get up, I'll make sure to carry on. Kind of like collapse,
Oh,
God.
One other point of like things that I should have realized like earlier on. It's like, oh, it's the Cybermen. It's like the whole idea that the episode title was Dark Water, and then when they finally introduced the idea, like, yeah, the water that these skeletons are sitting in is called dark water. It's like all you can see through it is the organic material, and like in my head, I'm like, they're all supposed to be human, and they're all dead. Like, of course, all you would see is organic matter. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck is the point of that? And I really thought, like, the dark water itself was going to be such a huge plot point. And granted, it was, like, the Cybermen explode and the water rains over, the cemeteries and graveyards of the world, and even the morgues, too. Like, and that's what Cybermen pollen, as the doctor puts it, like, that's what converts them into Cybermen and brings the dead back to life. But just the idea of, like, as the water is draining, it's like, oh, the tanks aren't supposed to do that. Why are they doing that? And Missy's, enacting her plan. I'm like, and I see the cyber helmet coming out, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, everything but the organic material. All right. Fair enough. It's like I should have seen that coming. Oh.
Yes, I understand why. Yeah, I get that. I really should have as well. But the reason why it made sense to me, I guess, is because like, oh, I don't know. When they didn't mention what it was, it just seemed like it was it was random kind of water. When they mentioned, oh yes, it's X-ray. I don't know. I guess like if we bury them in their clothes, because assuming that they're super rich. They want to be buried in, like, I don't know. But then again, it would be like, well, why do you need to see inside of them? Also, the fact that I never imagined that Daleks have anything organic in them. Daleks, well, yes, Daleks do. But, like, how Cybermen never have anything organic in them. Like, oh, yes, they're human upgrades. But I imagine them as completely machine or just the outer skeleton.
Right.
But then when they're ripped apart, there are clearly... Yeah.
Right, because they still have the human nervous system. Like, again, the last time I saw them in Tennant's run, and you see them in 11's run as well, but like you only really got into like the mechanics of them necessarily. The hive mind was more of an idea that the 11th Doctor played with, but like 10 was like, so what actually goes into a Cyberman when they're made? It's like, oh, their nervous system. Wait, what? Yeah, we harvest human nervous systems and then we put them in the suit. That's how we get them to work. And I think possibly the brain is in there too, but like I never thought of it as, so I guess obviously a nervous system floating in the tank would be like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. You'd see the bones, the bones of the people who died. All the flesh would be gone, right? Because I was never under the impression that their skeleton is actually part of the Cybermen as well.
Yes. So I want to say that. Sorry, just thinking, looking at this episode as it plays on in the background on my television, which usually happens while we do these podcasts. Yeah, I want to say that yes, I didn't expect there to be the skeletons in there as well. Right, just adding on to that. I want to mention that I also wanted to mention that because I'm looking at this Wikipedia article, like listing some very interesting things about the episode, and apparently the Capaldi and what was it? The actor who played Pink. Want to make sure I have his name down. Actually, no, it wasn't Pink. Who was it? It was the actor that played. My point is that apparently some of the actors and Gomez is who is Gomez?
Oh, he might have been the other general that was with Kate, the one that salutes and he says, "Oh, you have a nice Boy Scout uniform."
No, because here's what's very interesting. The reason why I'm asking is because of what was it? Is because apparently Capaldi and another actor mouthed their lines, and they did so that when it came to any kind of copies being leaked, they wouldn't be because no one could hear what they were saying.
Huh.
And also the fact that, and any preview copy didn't have them talking. They didn't have the finale. So very interesting stuff, yes. It's just kind of funny because I'm like, wait, who is Gomez? Oh, Michelle Gomez. Okay, that's Missy's character. So in other words, So in other words, basically, they didn't want the two of them. They didn't want the two of them to like anyone to know that the Master was back.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
But so I wanted to mention that I like that. I love the way they filmed the Danny Pink scenes, like as him being a Cyberman. Not just like them removing the faceplate. I'm referring to just him getting out of the morgue.
Oh God! Picking up the slip. Oh God, that killed me so much. Oh
yeah. Well, I think I mentioned
in my head
earlier.
As I'm watching it, I'm like, why? Like, so who's this? Like, why are we following this specific Cyber? Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
So I just want to say, I really do want to say that it's just, oh my God, just this. Them being able to film it the way they filmed it, it was like a horror scene, but then it started, it became a scene of like joy and beauty, and I really enjoyed what they did with that, right?
Oh yeah.
And I just, I was telling you way earlier when we started this podcast, I was saying how I feel differently upon watching the second time. I feel a lot more emotion, and I think I was able to cry more. Because the first time I saw it, I'm not going to say I didn't feel bad in any way, but I think I just felt this general disinterest in Clara's character. And that opening scene I mentioned with her and the Doctor in Darkwater really hit me so much that it just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of the two-parter. Now I'm able to feel, everything I'm able to feel the way I want to feel it, right? Like, oh man, that's sad, or or the way they intended it, I think. But in the first time, I think it just puts such a bad taste in your mouth, and then it's kind of hard to go through with the rest of it. And even though Missy coming back was amazing, or the Master coming back and it being Missy, and you're like, oh my God, this is great. But then, of course, Osgood dies, and that puts another bad taste in your mouth. You're like, anyone with Oz in their name, you just can't have good feelings about them. And like, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those situations where I feel like when you first watch this two-parter, you have a chance of not liking it, and then I think upon second viewing, you can still find the faults, but I think you're going to feel a lot differently than you may have upon first watching it. That's my take on it overall. And I think you feel the same way.
No, that's fair enough.
In some ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely understand where you're coming from. I mean, for me personally, I'm not even going to lie. Like, I bawled my eyes out both times watching this because, dear God. Oh, and just the idea that I feel like this was all, like, obviously planning the scripts and planning out the arc of how it's going to happen, but, like, Danny and the doctor, like, someone was always going to leave in Clara's life, and it was gonna be one or the other. Either she leaves and they're happy together and that's that, and no more travels through time and space, which you thought was going to happen for a while, but it's like, no. It's like, even though the doctor is, very important to you and your closest friend, it's like, no, you're going to lose the man you love, and it's going to tear you apart.
Yeah.
Because the scenes of her, like, saying all these things about the doctor to Danny and not realizing that it's Danny, and him just clenching and even raising, the blaster to her, and obviously not doing it because he still has his emotions, like he still is Danny Pink even though he's in the suit. And when he finally takes the mask off, she realizes just the horribleness of what she's said. And just the idea that it's like, you need to help, like, you've hurt me, and, like, that's fine. Like, that's life. You go through pain, but, like, I need you to make this stop. Like, I can't go on feeling like this. I need you to turn this off. Basically asking, I need you to kill me.
Now, here's the one thing I'm not a big fan of with, and it's a small thing, but the one thing I'm not a big fan of with Moffat. So, one thing I am a big fan of, and the one thing I'm not. I am a big fan that he makes strong female characters. He makes strong women, and that's good.
Right. Yeah.
The problem is, and it's not always with the same strong women that he makes, although sometimes it's too intertwined. With the strong women come this sense of either it is this idea that, like, they hurt the men they love, not constantly, but sometimes on a consistent basis, and that feels weird to me. Now, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that with Davies that I'm not going to say that Rose was always the best to Mickey. Right?
Yeah.
I'll be fair.
Right.
But then they didn't give anyone. But but it's not like they didn't give anyone to, like, give a significant other to. Oh no, I shouldn't be forgetting her name. She was the second companion. Help me. She was like second companion for Martha. Thank you. Yes, they didn't give Martha didn't have a boyfriend, so she didn't have the ability to do that. Donna was Donna, so she actually didn't need no man. So there was that. Also,
she got one later,
first husband
was happy, but
yeah.
And
then the first one, was a spider. But anyway,
he got eaten.
kind of like throws things off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But my point is that, like, I don't know. I don't feel like there was that many. There was one with Rose, but again, she fell in love with the doctor, so that's a bit of a different story.
Right.
Where, like, I mean, granted, I wasn't a big fan of it, but it's not what I'm referring to here, where it feels like it is this kind of, and as a female fan, it can kind of hurt you a little bit, and I think that's why some of the reaction I've heard online from some of the female fan base, where they're like, look, yes, these women are strong, but it feels like it isn't. Like, it's strength, and they also end up either hurting people that they like, or that they love, where it makes them feel like they're, I don't know, I guess, like they're negative characters because of it.
Right.
Or they have a certain way.
They're bad for being strong in a different way. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
or
not
in
how
their
it should
strength.
feel. Right.
Yes,
they
or
have
in their
to
strength
give
they
up
become unlikable.
a feeling for right. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
isn't true.
Like, you can be strong and likable. Like the Doctor
Right.
is strong and likable.
Yeah.
You would argue. I mean,
Sometimes.
there's sometimes like occasional.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're like like occasional murders.
Right.
Just
well,
like
that's,
occasional,
the idea that even
destruction of the
Clara
planet.
brings up to him. Yeah, the
Yeah.
occasional destruction here and there, or that the Doctor is kind of unfeeling in his meticulousness of like, I need to get to the bottom of this. Like a big point of that for me was the Orient Express episode. Was like, I had to say, like, I was trying to save who was ever left. To be fair, I would have gone through as many people as it took to figure out the puzzle to make it stop. And a lot of people would have died. I'm not going to lie. Like, that was going to happen. But it's the idea that, he still has compassion. He just shows it in a different way and not exactly in a way that you would automatically say, like, yeah, he's still compassionate. It's like, well, he's trying to be, like, question mark.
Yeah. Question mark.
Because even in this, even in here, when, he goes up to Danny, he's like, look, you're part of the hive mind now. I need to know what the plan is so I can stop the rest of Earth being destroyed. And he's like, Danny's like, well, that's a bit of a problem now, isn't it? Because I can't see I can't really see the network. He's like, oh, well, dig harder. It's like, I can't unless you connect me to it. It's like,
but question.
Danny
question.
says,
so,
yes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So now I can complain about something even further. Haha, Tristan, I've won this round. No, I haven't, but yes, I have. Question, Tristan, my dearest friend, one of my oldest friends. Question. They turned him so that he could, see the hive mind. So they removed his feelings. Did they turn him back? Why he still feel? Power of love?
I mean, basically, yes.
Listen, they're Cybermen. They are upgraded humans. They should have radios. If the fact that I didn't hear is the power of love in the background is a complete travesty.
Damn it.
It's a complete... He thought I was serious for a second. He was like, is Matt really getting mad here?
Oh,
it's a
I was
travesty.
just waiting for the point, and then this is what it turned out to be, so... Okay.
Oh, did you think it was going to be a point or a punchline? You don't know at this point.
No, I thought it was going to be a
10
point.
years.
I thought it was going to be a point, and then I realized it's a punchline.
We've known each other for 10 years now, Tristan. You'll never know. Is it a point or a punchline?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
But, that idea that it's like, look, Clara, this is what he is. Like, he will sacrifice anyone. Granted, it's in the sense of the greater good, but if you're his friend and you're this close to him, don't be surprised if this is the shit that he pulls because he has to. It's like I'm not saying that you can't travel with him, but don't expect that you're not going to come out of it unscathed. And really,
and I'm going to say
that applies to any companion.
And I'm going to say, don't travel with him. Not like the first time. I'm just saying that a big issue with Moffat, and it's like, why do you keep on bringing it back to Moffat? Because he kind of writes the whole thing. He's the head writer. So it's like, for certain shows, we don't really point to the head writer because they aren't usually as apparent, in my opinion. Like, obviously they're head writer, but like when it comes to something like Star Wars, it feels like it's everyone's vision, in my opinion. Like, everyone isn't everyone who's working on it. Or like, I look at Samurai Jack, and I don't think I'm talking about... Well, no. When I say their vision, I mean like looking at Clone Wars, right? I don't look at it like Lucas is running every single episode,
Right.
So like when I look at just certain shows, I feel like it's a bit harder to point to. Even like I was saying Samurai Jack. That's what I was talking about because we were doing Samurai Jack on our. We were doing it, and we still are, right, for Anna Saturdays. because season 5 is out. So yeah, I don't look at Tartakovsky and be like, oh, what's his vision? I don't usually do that because we look at, we try to focus on the specific, episodes and things like that. But when it comes to Doctor Who, maybe it's because it's live action, so it's a bit harder to get lost in, the characters, unless they're animated. Maybe that's why. Or because they're shorter seasons, so they're more compact, and then, I don't know what it might be, but I end up talking about, and I know you do, and whoever else is on with me for, Doctor Who Wednesdays, we end up talking about the, ramifications. Or, the writers and, the ramifications of, what's going on through the lens of the head writer. Especially because we know who wrote this, too. Another thing, too, by the way, usually the writers will stay on. The head writer will change eventually, but the other writers will stay on. So we'll go, oh, hey, this one worked on that, right? So this just being another Moffat finale, that's kind of why we're focusing on it so much.
I feel like it's just a sense of that's the name you hear, that's the writer's name that you hear the most, and it's yes, he's technically working on the overarching plot of this series, so yeah.
Yes. Also, I mean, heck, we would talk about Davies who were doing his series more, so that's another thing too to think about as well. So we just kind of started doing Moffat series, so it's well, that's why we're talking about Moffat. But yeah, I was just going to say, right, the idea that I feel people should leave. Because the way the finales that Moffat makes, Davies too in a way, but that's the thing. Davies made finales that made people go, this is way too fucking much. And then, not so much people as in you and I, the characters in the show.
Right.
And the characters would be yeah, I'm out. And you'd be good.
Right.
You should be out after this shit.
Right.
Right? So it just feels kind of, weird to me that here, not just here, but with, because that's the thing too, it's not just this series, it's also, Amy Rose, and then, Amy Rory, and then it ends up happening here as well, where it kind of feels like a companion stays on for too long, and then whatever happens to them, it's hard for me to feel bad. So, in a way, it's okay, technically Pink, I mean, in a way, it's funny. They made it so that, I shouldn't feel that way because of the fact that Missy made the two come together. So it's Matt, you can't feel bad like that. And I'm all right. But then she stayed on next series, and I'm yeah, now it's on her. She could have just moved on with her life, been look, I'm sorry, doctor, but my life is mine. Hey, maybe I'll work with Unit.
Yeah. I mean, to be completely honest, when, everything's said and done and, there is a way for Danny to come back, and he's there's only room for one to come back. There's only room for one person. It's a one-way trip. And he's I'm sorry, Clara, I truly am, but I have promises to keep. And he sends back the kid. I thought for sure, that was going to be her mission in life. I need to find this kid's parents. Or hell, even, I guess I'm going to raise this kid because he needs somebody in this life. And God knows where his parents are,
Yeah.
Just to be this was Danny's final sentiment. I'm going to respect that.
But apparently she was just they got ESL at the school, right? There's a shelter next to fuck it. Let's just put them there.
Oh, God.
Well, because here's the thing. The kid doesn't fucking know English because they never have him speak.
Yeah, right. From what you can tell, yeah.
Now, you might be well, he kind of feels bad about being dead. He's been dead for a while. He doesn't want to see the man that killed him, totally. But, they never have him speak, making you think that, he does not speak English. Right? I don't know. That's to me, I was also, it's not like he died the other day. His parents are you've been dead for 5 years, and you look like the kid that died 5 years ago. What the fuck?
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I had died at 8, I don't think my parents would accept me 5 years later. at the age of 8?
Yeah, like it's not a question that anyone should be made to answer because it's just like it's so jarring and unbelievable.
No, yeah, it's just really funny. Like, it's hilarious where, like, my thought was, holy shit, the doctor was right. You really are stupid. No, because, like, I would argue that people are going to try to yell at me and be like, what? That was such a sweet and beautiful and moving thing. And it's like, no, it's stupid.
Like, it was, but in the same sense, yeah, you have a point. It's like, even if Clara does miraculously find this boy's parents, it's kind of like, they're like, this obviously can't be our child because our child was killed. How? It's like, not everybody in the universe can be like, we can believe this, doctor. Like, it's okay. Like, thank you for, doing this. It's like, not everyone can so easily go about this and be like, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm pretty open-minded.
So here's the thing. Maybe I'm wrong here. I feel like there's a point in your life when if you age 5 years, it might not be that noticeable. At least one point in your life. Now, here's the thing. Maybe he was on active duty 3 years ago. Even then, okay, I think there's a point where aging 3 years in your life, unless, like, you can look different, but I don't think it'll be so vastly different that, like, when you flash your ID, no one's going to think, like, oh, man, this is you from 3 years ago. I don't believe that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, they'll know that it's you. You're just maybe not as, if you had a beard or long hair or short hair or whatever it might be, you're maybe more bags under your eyes, something like that. But, like, it's still going to be you, right? But the kid was so young when he passed, and they showed the same actor for him because you're not going to age when your body's somewhere else and your mind is there.
Yeah.
So in my head, because the thing, too, is that, like, oh, we have Steve Jobs. It's just like, yeah, I mean, I know it was a one-off joke. But, like, yeah, Steve, you're not going to get even older. You're not going to be like, well, I died when I was 80. Apparently I have to go to 110. I'm still going to follow human age progression. No.
Yeah, right.
Right? So my point is that, like, yeah, if you're at a certain age, it might be believable that 3 to 5 years, whatever it might be, might be believable. They're like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Right, makes sense. Right. The kid was so young that, I sat there and I was like, this is one of those things where, like, it's just trying to be a good feel-good moment, but it's not because all you have to do is think for 0.5 seconds and just be like, but even then it's kind of like, Clara. Like, here's the thing, too, right? In a way, it was also, like, it was really funny because, yes, Clara loves kids. She does. So it's a beautiful thing that she loves kids. And so I'm sure Danny knows, like, oh, she loves kids. I'm sure she'd want to help him, too. But just the funny thing is, like, Clara, I have to let you know, I'm not coming back. I'm dead. You're going to be sad. Also, here's a kid. And you should probably, like, take him back to his parents. Not even telling you where he was located because this has to be very vague because I don't want to make it seem like that he actually came from X country. So that, it makes it sadder because we're at war with X country. So I don't want to make it seem like that. But, Clara, he's from a war-torn country. I can't tell you which. Please, help find his parents.
I mean, I guess the idea would be, like, if she does find this kid's parents, it's kind of the idea of, they lost their child. Like, they would do anything. Like, even in the same sense of Clara, like, do anything to bring back that loved one.
No, but if it was only a year ago, then they can be like, oh, my God, this is our kid. But I feel like after a while, it just turns into, like, voodoo. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. I would be like, what the fuck is this? This is your kid. This is some clone shit. I don't want to fucking deal with this.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if it was more than a year.
Yeah. There is a certain cutoff where it's just like, this is no longer, like, people, in the living world, you do have to have this sense of moving on. So it's like them coming back at, like, X amount of years later. If it is X amount of years later, it is that jarring sense of, I've already made peace with you being gone, and now you're suddenly back. and this
No, but it would be okay if they were missing. Like, you didn't, like, let's just say they never knew that he died because, you know, it's a war-torn area.
Right.
The point is
Okay.
that you don't know that he died, but you know that he wouldn't be 8 years old still. It just doesn't make sense. So,
Right.
yeah. Like, they never mentioned, like, when he went touring, when he came back to be a PE teacher. I think he might have been new to the school.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if he was new.
Right.
My point is that, like, maybe it was a year. Maybe it just happened.
Right.
Maybe that's the point. Like, no, Matt, it happened 6 months ago. And I'd be like, all right, fair enough. But also, the problem is that, you know, and Moffat has done that a lot with his series. A lot of gaps in between. Like, yes, of course, Davies had it where, you know, they'd come in from an adventure or something like that. But, like, it really feels like 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months will sometimes go by and Clara won't even hear from the doctor.
Right.
Where I feel like in older series, even in Davies to a certain degree, the doctor would never just leave his companion and run away. Like, it's like, all right, the doctor is with that companion until he's not anymore. And then things move on.
Yeah, I felt like that was more of a running thing with 11 even and 12. It's like, oh, you know, my timekeeping is kind of rubbish. It's like, you're a year late. Shit. Well, all right, I'll try again next time. Well, you're only 6 months late this time, so I guess you're getting better at it.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, no, I'm a fan of his time, you know, his timekeeping skills being bad because, of course, he's a time traveler. But, of course, then the point is that, like, wait, but you can just time travel to the next time you see them. It doesn't have to be that fucking long. So that's why I'm a bigger fan of, like, I'm just a big fan of when the companion leaves the TARDIS and they don't come back.
Right.
Because it feels too much like a stop and go, especially with the way these season finales have been built up, that I truly thought this was the last time we'd see Clara. And I was like, you know what? It is a fitting end. And she comes back and just like, no, it's fucking not. God damn it. Right. Or you would think that because of the Christmas special that they led into, right, you're like, oh, then this will be the last time we see. Because, of course, you know, the Santa Claus, the real Santa Claus children, mentioned British Santa.
Right.
You know, yeah. Why is he British Santa? Because he buys the toys with pounds. Anyway.
Just the fact of, like, what do you want for Christmas? And it's like, I know, like, a lot of points for 10, it was just like the phrase, what? When something completely unexpected just happened to crash or find its way into the TARDIS. But 12 is just eyebrow? Like, what? But doesn't say anything, but just looks.
Yeah,
the fuck are you doing on my TARDIS? Oh, God, that was beautiful.
Most definitely. Yes. So I just wanted to say, you know, before we start wrapping things up, I just want to say that I think the one thing that we can look at over this two-parter that is the absolute worst is the amount of times they said Doctor Who. Like, I have no problem with the words Doctor Who as a joke, but I feel like once the cat was out of the bag and they started using it, they just started driving it home to the point where it's just like when Clara was like, pass me the screwdriver. After hearing Doctor Who so many times, like, pass me the screwdriver. Matt, we only have real ones. Yeah, no, I'm putting it in my skull. It's just too much, man. Because, like, especially because here's the thing, right? Doctor Who should be used tongue-in-cheek in a funny way where we laugh at. But when Clara's just like, Doctor, and he's like, Doctor Who. I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to vomit right now. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, like
even the Master,
like, you know, like, I don't know, like, it, like,
him
what?
And the Master did that at one point in their dialogue, too, I think.
That's what, but that point, I think it was more funny. It was still used twice, and I didn't like it, but again, it was more funny.
Right.
I believe. But, like, here, it was just very serious. After that serious, I thought I just killed us both and the TARDIS moment. And it's just like, who? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, any show that would ever try to do that, like, it's just like something terrible happens. Are we wearing scrubs? Malcolm, you're in the middle. Like, it's just so fucking, I don't know, it's just a shitty thing. Like, I just don't, like, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the thing of the movie The Avengers. Well, it's called The Avengers, so yeah. But I don't know, like, just imagine, like, you know, Han Solo dies or something like that, and it's just like this Star Wars.
Oh God.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh God. Like, there's no way you can use the title of your show in your show unless it's really generic or you're using it tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, The Force Awakens. To the dark side. Oh, God, no.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, like, you can use it, like, I don't know, like, if your show is titled, like, you know, Police, very fucking easy to tie that in. Or, like, you know, like,
right.
or, like, Office, like, I don't know, there's, like, certain shows you can do, like, Breaking Point. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
You can do something like that, right? Like, you know, it might seem stupid, but still, like, Breaking Point is a phrase. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can happen.
Right.
But, like, Doctor Who, using it in such, like, Doctor Who.
Mm.
I was like, nope.
You've made it funny before, but not no.
Yeah.
Did it one time.
You ruined it
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the one last tie-in, or all right, you want to finish something first, or?
Well, I just want to mention the fact that I really enjoyed seeing the Brigadier as a Cyberman because that really made me sad.
Yeah.
And I'm happy they gave him a send-off because they couldn't give him a send-off proper because the actor died a while ago, and they actually tried to give him a send-off in a way by having someone at the hospital call 11 to tell him that he had passed. Yeah. And what's very interesting is I believe in the novels they actually had the Brigadier in a space hospital, like kind of why they had the call, and also because it wasn't from a normal hospital, and more importantly, I believe he actually I don't say he was augmented, but I believe he actually had Cyberman tech implanted into him.
Okay.
So I do believe I believe he was human, but he could fight with he wasn't just all human. I believe he could not shoot lasers, but I believe he had other powers as well. This was in other novels that you never really see. It was never tied into the show. But I do wonder if it was a nod to that universe by having him become a Cyberman. I don't remember if that's accurate, but I know that the space hospital thing was accurate. And that's why they had the phone call be from this random hospital saying oh, he passed, but it wasn't an earthly hospital.
Right.
And anyway, but yes, I never had the chance to give him the proper send-off because the actor passed away. So it was really nice to have that phone call, but you always wanted a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy they went for this.
Yeah. No, I'm happy too, because even the line that the doctor, gives, he's like, of course, the Earth's and my darkest hour, where else would you be? And he gives him the salute, and it's that's yes, that is what he would have wanted. It's you actually legit. It's I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing it because it's the appropriate thing to do right now.
Yeah, and also I want to mention that it was a great moment, and I just. It makes sense that, of course, again, you bring back all the dead, you have to at least do something where, you tie it into the universe itself. Because, again, you could do a lot because it's only the specific doctor, but you couldn't just leave it to be only, Danny Pink. That would be weird. Doctors have been going on for a while. Yeah. One major thing, though, I wanted to mention. Major, Brigadier. One thing I wanted to say, before even the major thing, I want to say that it's kind of funny good that they brought him in because they made so many references to him and his, with his daughter and everything that, it would just make sense that you have him show up.
Right.
It would have been really weird had he not shown up after the fucking picture and after, Unit appearing in the episode, everything like that. It's you bring him back, right?
Right.
What I wanted to say was, it was, one major thing. It was crazy how the last joke that Missy could play on the Doctor was that Gallifrey was not there. Because I have to be honest, it was like when she said, "Oh, haven't you checked?" It's in my head. I'm like, why wouldn't he have checked? Of course he's checked.
Not necessarily.
No, I know. At least not any time recently. So that's why he went to check, and no, it wasn't there. And the only thing I didn't like is that he was hitting the TARDIS. And the reason why I don't like that is because, blame Moffat, blame him again, because he wrote. Actually, no, Neil Gaiman wrote the episode, but still, it's in canon, so you have to understand. The TARDIS feels. You can't. I don't know. For me, that was like, it's a pet peeve, I'm sure. It's something so small to some.
Yeah.
But it just feels weird with, like, the Doctor's a real living, like the Doctor, of course the Doctor. But the TARDIS is real and living. It's organic.
Yeah.
Doctor is smashing it. And I'm like, oh, God, no. Like, I know they went for the drama, but I feel like it was too much.
I feel like in the sense it's like that's explaining how it's the idea that it's like, I fell for that. I can't believe I fucking fell for that. Of all the things to believe, like, the one thing, like, that would make me lose it as the Doctor, it's like, yeah, Gallifrey's there. Why the fuck did I believe that? Like, I'm sure he felt like the same thing, felt bad about it, like, oh, I've just smashed up the TARDIS now. I'm like, say even to the TARDIS, like, I'm sorry. It wasn't meant for you, kind of thing.
Yeah. Because the thing is, and you look at the end, and the end was so sad in the way the two of them were just lying about everything and letting it stay. But again, that would have been the saddest but most real end to her character and to their characters interacting.
Yeah.
But no.
And I don't know. For me, something like that is kind of refreshing. I mean, yes, it's horrible. And, like, normally I would say, like, no, you can't leave a bad taste in the audience's mouth like that. Like, everyone wants a happy ending. Maybe even not a happy ending, but, like, an okay ending. This was sad. Like, the line, like, why don't you ever give hugs? Like, seeing as how this is our last meeting, like, let me ask you, why don't you give hugs? Because it's the easiest way to hide your face.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I know. But just my take on it is, like you said, it's sad. You don't want to leave the audience with a bad taste in their mouth. But you have to be real. You have to be real here, right?
Yeah.
If this had been their first series, I'd be like, no. But it wasn't. But it was their second series.
Everything that they've been through, up to this point, it's like a sad ending for these two characters kind of fits for their characters. Yeah. And no one died, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Like I'm not spoiling anything for the future here, right? I'm just saying it, I'm just spoiling it for. We're not spoiling because people have seen. Well, no, I'm not spoiling it because obviously, people have seen Amy and Rory, right? No,
but still, to me,
Danny died. God damn it!
You're very right, Danny. No, I'm only talking about companions here.
That's where I'm coming from. Right.
No. I'm coming from companions here, because because obviously I'm assuming people are watching this with us, so I'm not saying Clara lives or she dies. What I'm trying to say though is it feels like there's this trend that Moffat wants to set that I'm not a big fan of, and it's you can't stand not being with the Doctor, and the Doctor can't stand not being with you. So the only way we won't be with the Doctor is if you die, and I'm just not a fan of this. Because I just don't want this to be a trend. I want it to be like, look, yes, I know the Doctor can be a hard habit to kick, but everyone has to leave sometime. It should not be, well, they leave in a body bag. No, I'm not a big fan of that.
Right. Eventually people move on with their lives. Or the Doctor even moves on with his life. And, like, even with, like, Sarah Jane, like, she's like, you left, and I didn't even know if you lived. When 10 picks her up again, and she's like, I had to go on living, whether I knew you were coming back or not.
Yeah, no, like I just wanted a world. And maybe I'm just kind of like I'm still a little bitter about what went on with Amy and Rory, but I just wanted a world where you could come back in 20 years with a new doctor, well, a bunch of new doctors in between, but with a new doctor, and just being able to see a 40-year-old Amy and a 40-year-old Rory with a 10-year-old kid. That would have been cute for me.
God damn it.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just being serious.
No,
it would have
sorry.
been nice.
No, you're right. I heard you wrong and then I was thinking of River, and I'm like, because she's older than they are when you meet them. So I heard 4-year-old.
Oh yes.
Them and 10-year-old kid, and I'm like, that's because it's River, because haha. And I'm like, no, wait, he said 40. God damn it.
No, and also, by the way, I forgot that what's it called? I forgot that Amy already had the kid. So in 20 years, the kid would have been 20 anyway. But still.
Right. Exactly.
Right. But no, my point is that yeah. But anyway,
right.
So then again, I don't know what's technically going on with Amy and her kids or potential future kids or whatever. Will every kid be River Song? But anyway, my point is that I love it. Every time she has a kid, it just becomes another River Song. God damn it.
Yeah.
Fucking space people coming to try and take my baby. Just consistently. Anyway, I'm just saying that, as we really want to wrap things up, because we've been talking about this for a bit.
Yeah. There was one last thing I wanted to mention.
Please do.
Just with Missy and the doctor, like when she gives, him the control panel, it's like, happy birthday. I'm giving you an army. You can go out and save all those people. Go save the good ones. You're always saying all the bad guys are always winning the wars. Go give one for the good guys. And, he's like, no, I don't want this power. And she's like, don't you lie to me. Like, you forget. It's like, no, you don't forget, but you forget the idea, like, we're best friends. Yes, I'm batshit insane, but, like, I know you better than you want to believe, or more than you want to think I do. It's like, I know you want to be able to go out there and save all of them. Well, I'm giving you the power to do it. And the doctor's like, I can't have that kind of power. No one should have that kind of power, because it brings the idea of, the doctor becoming a god almost, essentially, deciding who lives and who dies. And yes, he goes around trying to help people and saving who he can, if it comes to that. But in the end, like, if it's somebody's time, it's somebody's time, no matter how gut-wrenching it is. I mean, God, we just went through all this with Clara and Danny. It's like, when it's somebody's time, it's like, I really can't do anything about that.
Yeah, also, I just don't believe...
Yeah.
I just don't believe that Missy would have let him get away with it. I feel like she would have shot him or something. Like, even though it's like, no, but it's his birthday, I don't feel comfortable believing in her in any form.
I feel like the idea was that she wanted him to, like, bring himself to her level.
Yes, of course.
It's like the idea of because she even says, we're not so different. I need my best friend back. I need you to understand that we're not so different. It's the idea that they are two sides of the same coin. But the idea is that the doctor never pushes it past that point. He's like, no, I am me, and I'm not going to do things the way that you do them, even if it would be easier that way, quote unquote. I still have a stance that I have to take.
Yes, but I imagine the doctor Missy doing that. Okay, I imagine Missy getting the doctor to say yes before he dies. Like, in other words, like, yes, I would do that. That's all I wanted you to say, and then killing him. I don't know. Like, I don't imagine. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't see, or I see it being like, let's go on the TARDIS together, and then they go on the TARDIS together, and then they, and then she kills him.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't imagine a world where the two of them are actually traveling the galaxy and having fun and being friends.
Oh, no.
At this point,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that either. No, I would just say that the Master finally gets to see the Doctor, doing things her way. Like, you know, I've finally gotten you to admit that, yeah, you can't keep up the goody two-shoes act if you really, you know, want to do things your way. But
okay, fair enough.
That's like the doctor always goes. He's like, you know, he even turns around and he says, "Thank you. I'm not a good man." And at that point, I was losing my shit because I'm like, oh, dear God, the doctor's finally snapped. Like, I was legit afraid. Like, oh, my God, he's lost his mind. All of them, any of them that he ever had or ever will have. But he goes, you know, I'm not a good man. I'm not a bad man either. I'm not a president. I'm not a general. I'm not a soldier. I am an idiot in a box with a screwdriver, passing through, helping out, and learning. And that is one of the best, like, I love 12. And that's one of the lines I love him for so much.
Yeah, we'll talk about talk about 12 a little bit more, you know, throughout these podcasts. But I definitely want to say that I definitely do not hate 12. And I think that's something that I feel if people don't like 12. Like, it's hard. I'm not saying the transition wasn't easy, right? 11 was my first doctor. But I don't hate 12 at all. I think 12 is a great shake-up and is a great doctor.
Oh, yeah. I love 12 as well. I think he's definitely fitting as an incarnation of the Doctor.
Yes. Okay, so let's just kind of wrap things up here. I want to thank everybody. Well, no, because it's kind of, we've been doing this for a while, right? We got to end the show here, right? I want to thank everyone for listening in, as always, especially in this transition that we are transitioning from doing Star Wars Wednesdays into Doctor Who Wednesdays. We're doing this for a little bit, but then we'll jump right back into Star Wars once we are caught up with Doctor Who, because it's currently new airing Doctor Who, and we are catching up with the podcasts, because my goodness, it's been a while, Tristan. So anyway, again, thank you all. Want to mention our social media accounts. You can go on our main Facebook page, our Facebook page, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio, and our Instagram, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, to actually find our shows through not only our podcast, but also our Let's Plays that we do through there, and any other miscellaneous things we might release. Also, check out our main website, which is no slashes just yet. It's actually ThoseGuysOnTheRadio.tumblr.com, either /merchandise for our merch for our podcast and our Let's Plays, or just ThoseGuysOnTheRadio.tumblr.com or tgproduction.net, right, which is our website where you can find all of the news based on our new shows, podcasts, be they podcasts or Let's Plays, or any of our merchandise as well. So you can get all that over at tgproduction.net /merchandise. Also on our eBay, Those Guys on the Radio. Well, actually, no, it's just Those Guys Radio, which is our eBay. And yes, we also have our YouTube channels where you can find our podcast. Assuming you're listening to a podcast right now, you might be listening to us through our YouTube channel, which you search up Those Guys on the Radio and find us on YouTube. You could be searching us up through our iTunes, which is Those Guys. Yeah, just Those Guys. And you could be finding us on Blog Talk Radio, which is actually /Those Guys on the Radio. Also, our Let's Plays are Those Guys Play, which you can find on the channel. And a lot of different stuff there that Tristan and I have played. We've actually just wrapped up Season 3, sadly. Next year will be Season 4. But for the time being, you can actually watch us continuing the games that we started in Season 1, 2, and 3, and wrapping those up as well. Okay, so thank you all. We love you guys. And say good night, Tristan.
I don't need an army. I have them. Good night, everyone.
The people listening? I'm confused, Tristan. Tristan, I'm so confused.
All of them. All of them, Matt. Every last one of them.
Every fan in time and space?
Yeah.
Or the Cybermen? Do we have a large Cybermen audience?
God damn it.